She met him in a dream when she was 40 and getting over a divorce. He was 25 and charming, and he promised her the world. But what started as Hollywood's most talked about romance turned into Demi Moore's darkest chapter. Now that she's 62, she's finally telling the whole story. The miscarriage they kept secret, the 3 children she regrets having, and the addiction that almost killed her. Demi Moore was born on November 11th, 1962, in Roswell, New Mexico. Her life was hard from the start. Her father left before she was born, and her mother died when she was a child. Things got worse when Demi was only 15, and her mother let an older man hurt her for $500. This left her with deep emotional scars that stayed with her for years. Her home life was chaotic. Both of her parents drank a lot, and the family moved over 30 times by the time she was 14. Demi never felt stable or safe. When she was 12, her mother tried to kill herself, and Demi had to dig pills out of her mouth while her stepfather held her down. That moment forced her to grow up very quickly. School wasn't better for Demi. She had trouble reading and had a condition that required surgeries on her eyes. When she was 16, she quit school and moved in with her parents. To make money, she did modeling and debt collection. When she was 17, she married rock musician Freddie Moore, hoping to leave her troubled past behind. The marriage only lasted 4 years, but Demi didn't give up. She wanted a better future and kept going. When she was 19, she got her first big break. She was cast in the soap opera General Hospital as a journalist named Jackie Templeton. Over 1,000 actresses tried for the part, but Demi was chosen. While she was on TV, Demi stood out because she only made $750 an episode, but her role as Jackie was strong and determined, which wasn't typical for women at the time. Her performance impressed both viewers and producers. Off-screen, Demi had a serious problem. She was addicted to drugs and alcohol and often partied for days on end. Her director, Joel Schacher, saw her potential and helped her stay sober by finding someone to be with her 24/7 while she filmed her next big movie, St. Elmo's Fire. This support helped her turn her life around. In 1985, she starred in St. Elmo's Fire. Fire, a huge hit movie about a group of friends navigating adulthood, also starred Rob Lowe and Emilio Estevez. Demi played Jules, a party girl with problems, a role that was a lot like some of her own problems. But getting the part wasn't easy. Joel Schacher told her she had to get sober or lose it. She chose to fight her addiction and was successful. The studio even paid for someone to stay with her during filming to make sure she stayed on track. The movie made Demi a part of the Brat Pack, a group of rising young stars in the 1980s. The actors didn't like the term, but it brought her a lot of attention. Fame and attention. Demi's performance in St. Elmo's Fire opened up more opportunities for her, and she soon starred in movies like About Last Night and Ghost, which made her one of the biggest names in Hollywood. Years later, people still talk about the Brat Pack. In 2024, a documentary called Brats came out, in which Demi and her co-stars talked about that time. There are even rumors of a sequel to St. Elmo's Fire, with hopes of bringing back the original cast. 7 million around the world, even though the movie, which cost only $22 to $23 million to make, became the highest-grossing movie of 1990 and the third highest-grossing film of all time. People loved it so much that it became the most watched video in the U.S. in $1,991 and more. Played Molly Jensen in Ghost, and her performance moved audiences deeply. The pottery wheel scene with Patrick Swayze, set to Unchained Melody, became iconic and is still remembered as one of the most famous moments in movie history. Moore's short haircut in the movie became a global fashion trend, and women all over the world copied the look. The movie's success had a personal side for Moore while Ghost was topping the box office. Their movies were the top two movies in theaters at one point, something that hadn't happened to another married Hollywood couple until 34 years later. The success of Ghost earned Moore a Golden Globe nomination and a Saturn Award for Best Actress, showing how much critics and fans liked her work. The movie wasn't just a love story, it mixed romance, comedy, and supernatural elements in a way that wasn't seen before in Hollywood. Its success showed that movies with original ideas could still be big hits, which encouraged filmmakers to try telling stories in new ways over the years. In the movies that came after Ghost or continued to shine in major roles, Moore played Lieutenant Commander Joanne Galloway in A Few Good Men, 1992, which made over $243 million worldwide and showed she could hold her own in a serious male-dominated film. In 1993, Moore starred in Indecent Proposal, which was a huge hit at the box office, earning nearly $267 million on a $38 million budget. The movie asked the controversial question, would a married woman sleep with a stranger for $1 million? Moore played Diana Murphy, and her performance started big debates about morality and relationships. Feminists said that the role treated women like property. Moore later said that the backlash she faced during this time was one of the hardest parts of her career. Despite this, she kept taking on bold roles because she saw them as a way to challenge society's expectations about women. Moore's career took an even riskier turn with two controversial movies in the mid-1000s, 990s in 1996. She played a stripper in Striptease, which got a lot of attention for its daring subject and Moore's naked scenes. $5 million for the part, which made her. Moore was the highest paid actress in Hollywood at the time, and in 1997 she played the first woman to go through Navy SEAL training. To prepare for the role, Moore shaved her head on camera and did many of her stunts. She also worked out hard, building muscle and lowering her body fat to just 10%. These two roles showed different sides of Moore. In Striptease, she embraced her femininity and sexuality, while in G.I. Jane, she played a tough, masculine character. This caused a debate about gender roles in Hollywood, and Moore herself said that playing a soldier upset women more than playing a stripper. Moore became even more famous after these movies, but they also caused a lot of criticism and public attention, which hurt her deeply. In her 2019 memoir, Moore wrote that this was the start of a hard time in her personal life, with problems with substance abuse and body image. Demi Moore's life took a big turn when she married musician Freddie Moore when she was only 17. The marriage wasn't based on love. It was more about running away from the pain of losing her stepfather, which she admitted years later in her memoir Inside Out. In fact, the night before the wedding, Moore admitted this. She wasn't excited or happy. Instead, she was on the phone with another man she'd met on a movie set before they got married. She took Freddie's last name and used it as her stage name, which she kept for the rest of her career. During their marriage, they worked together on songs like It's Not a Rumor, which became a small hit. But it was hard because Demi was still trying to figure out who she was while being in a serious relationship. She later said she sabotaged the marriage herself because she knew it wasn't right. The marriage ended in 1985, but it left a lasting impression on her. Demi and Bruce Willis met at a premiere in 1987, while Demi was engaged to another actor, Emilio Estevez. There was an undeniable spark between Demi and Bruce. 4 months later, they were in Las Vegas for a boxing match when Bruce proposed. They got married right then and there on November 21, 1987. It was impulsive, but it worked for a while. They became one of Hollywood's most famous couples. Bruce was a rising star with diehard fans, and Demi was becoming one of the highest paid actresses of all time. They had 3 daughters together. Rumor? Tallulah was born in 1994, Scout in 1991, and both were born in 1988. However, their jobs kept them apart a lot, and they had different ideas about family. Bruce wanted Demi to stay home more, but she was making $12 an hour. $5 million for striptease, and didn't seem to be slowing down. Despite the problems they faced, they stayed close for a long time. They even worked together in the movie Mortal Thoughts. But after 11 years of marriage, they decided to split up in 1998. Unlike many Hollywood divorces, theirs was surprisingly peaceful. They stayed friends and co-parented their kids. Their blended family later became an example of how divorced couples can still support each other. Demi's biggest challenge was balancing her career with being a mom. In 1988, there was a rumor that she didn't slow down. By 1991, she was on the cover of Vanity Fair posing naked while pregnant with Scout. The photo became famous because it showed that being a mom didn't mean hiding or being ashamed of your body. She worked hard to make her career fit her family life on the set of G.I. Jane, where she had a nursery built for her youngest daughter. After her divorce from Bruce, she made the big decision to leave Hollywood and move to Idaho. She wanted her daughters to have a normal life away from the spotlight, even if it meant putting her career on hold. This choice showed how much she valued being a mom above all else. In 2003, Demi Moore met Ashton Kutcher at the New York premiere of Charlie's Angels Full Throttle. Demi was 40 years old and Ashton was 25. Despite being 15 years apart in age, they hit it off right away. Demi was drawn to Ashton's charm and humor. Within a day of meeting, they had an 8-hour phone call where they talked about their feelings. Within 3 weeks of meeting, Ashton had already met Demi's daughters and her ex-husband Bruce Willis. In a shocking and daring move, Ashton proposed to Demi just 2 months into their relationship. He planned a romantic midnight pact picnic on the beach in Santa Barbara and wrote, "Marry me" in rose petals. The engagement ring was a 5-carat Asher-cut diamond worth $250,000. By the 4th month, they had moved in together and started a production company called Catalyst Films. Their first movie together was called Beauty and the Geek. Their relationship faced a heartbreaking test when Demi had a miscarriage 6 months into her pregnancy. The loss broke their hearts, but they supported each other through grief counseling 3 times a week for months. Later, Ashton said that the tragedy made him realize he was ready to be a dad, which strengthened their bond even more. The media was fascinated by their 15-year age difference, which became a big deal when they made their public debut as a couple at the Charlie Angels premiere year. The press went crazy over 200. The event was full of photographers, and some even offered $100,000 for a picture of them kissing late at night. Comedians and talk shows made fun of their relationship all the time, and Demi was often called the poster child for the term cougar. Despite the jokes, Demi and Ashton dealt with the attention in a funny way. In 2005, Demi appeared on Saturday Night Live wearing old age makeup to poke fun at the focus on their age difference. In September 2005, Demi and Ashton had a private wedding at their Beverly Hills home with only 100 guests, including Bruce Willis. Demi wore a Lanvin dress and Ashton wore a cream Brooks dress. According to rumors, Bruce Willis was moved to tears by the ceremony, which took place under a Kabbalah chuppah, which represented their spiritual beliefs. It was a touching moment when Demi's daughters, Scout and Tula, read heartfelt letters to Ashton, who gave each girl a Cartier love bracelet to show his commitment to their family. After their wedding, Demi and Ashton settled into their blended family life. They bought a house in Idaho where they enjoyed family vacations and themed parties. They often spent time together with Bruce Willis, co-parenting well, and even going on vacation as one big extended family. Bruce praised Ashton, saying he was one of the best people he knew. Ashton was one of the few men his daughters had told him, "I love you." As Demi's stepfather, he was responsible for raising three girls, ages 17, 14, and 11. He threw himself into the role, going to their school events, cheering them on, and even learning how to French braid their hair. Ashton said he took parenting classes to better understand his role, saying that love doesn't get split up, but grows. He supported the girls' interests, helping Rumor set up her first Twitter account and producing her film, and many other things. Scout said he inspired her. DeLuca later wrote that Ashton's presence initially confused her because she wasn't sure how to accept him as a father figure. Rumor even admitted she had a crush on Ashton before he started dating her mom, which made things more complicated in their relationship. Despite these problems, Ashton stayed close to the girls even after he and Demi broke up. He cheered for Rumor during her Dancing with the Stars performances and celebrated her pregnancy announcement years later. In 2020, he said he would always love and root for them, showing his unwavering love. Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher were thrilled when they found out they were going to have a baby. Moore was 41 years old and 6 months pregnant when, during a routine checkup on September 23, 2003, they were told that their baby girl, Chaplain Ray, did not have a heartbeat. This was a terrible loss for Moore, who had been sober for almost 20 years. She blamed herself, thinking that her occasional smoking and drinking during the pregnancy had caused it. The grief hit her harder, and she started abusing alcohol and painkillers like Vicodin to dull the pain. Her weight dropped to a dangerously low 98 pounds, which was too low. The couple tried everything to have another baby, even IVF, but nothing worked. In 2019, Moore wrote that she felt even more broken because she didn't know how to deal with her feelings after the miscarriage. This made her feel emotionally distant from Kutcher, who she said tried to help her but couldn't connect with how she was feeling. This emotional distance grew and began to hurt their relationship. In an effort to save their marriage, they did some strange things. Moore wrote in her memoir that they even had threesomes because Kutcher asked for it. She did it to make him happy, but it made her feel bad about the relationship and ashamed. She turned to spirituality for help, going to the Kabbalah Center in Los Angeles and even taking a spiritual retreat in Israel, but it didn't help. The pressure to have a baby, Moore's drug problems, and the age difference between them made things worse. Things got even worse when rumors of Kutcher cheating came out on their 6th wedding anniversary, September 24, 2011, and Kutcher was said to have spent the night with a 22-year-old woman named Sarah Lale Moore. Moore had seen Lale before at a bowling alley, where Lale gave Kutcher her. Moore said she was so shocked she couldn't breathe, and her daughter found out about the affair through a Google alert on her phone while getting ready for a red carpet event. When she confronted Kutcher about it, he admitted it. Moore later learned that he had cheated before with a 21-year-old woman named Brittany Jones. To make matters worse, Kutcher tried to defend his actions by saying that their threesomes had blurred the lines in their relationship, which made Moore's pain even more. When the affair became public, it made things even harder. Just days after the scandal broke, they appeared together at an event for their Foundation Against Moore had to stand next to Kutcher while he talked about human trafficking, even though she knew what he had done. It was embarrassing. On November 17, 2011, Moore announced that they were splitting up. She said it was a painful but necessary decision and that she had to stay true to her values. The divorce process took almost 2 years. Kutcher officially filed in December 2012, and the split was finalized in November 2013. Moore later said that the end of their marriage felt like a nightmare and hurt her self-esteem a lot. Kutcher admitted in a 2023 interview that divorce made him feel like a failure. After her divorce from Ashton Kutcher, Demi Moore's life started to fall apart. She had been sober for almost 20 years, but everything changed and she started using drugs again. Things got really bad on January 23, 2012, when she had a seizure at a party at her house in Benedict Canyon. She had been smoking synthetic cannabis and inhaling nitrous oxide. When someone called 911, they said she was shaking and semi-conscious. It was a scary moment and the beginning of a very dark time for Demi. Over the next 3 years, her addiction got worse. She started taking up to 12 Vicodin pills a day. She drank Red Bull mixed with vodka every day and spent hours looking in the mirror and telling herself she needed to be thinner. Her health got so bad that she weighed only 102 pounds. Stress, exhaustion, and not eating right caused seizures, and she barely held on. During this time, Demi avoided her family and friends and spent most of her time alone. She missed her daughter Rumer's 30th birthday and other important family events. In September 2012, she finally went to rehab at a fancy center in Utah called Cirque Lodge. It cost a lot of money. She had to pay $150,000 a month, but it was a necessary AR step for her to start getting better. Demi's addiction hurt her personally, but it also hurt her relationships with her 3 daughters, Rumer Scout, Tula, and Tallulah. Things got so bad that Demi and her daughters stopped talking for 3 years. Tallulah, who was only 25, talked about how scary it was. She said it felt like her mom changed into a monster. She remembered feeling anxious whenever Demi's behavior changed, like when her speech slowed down or she became overly affectionate. Tallulah even developed an eating disorder and body image problems because of the stress. Rumer, who was 31, was angry and she was heartbroken and said it felt like her mom's addiction had taken something valuable away from her. She also talked about the scary time she had to call 911 to save her mom's life. Scout, who was 28 years old, felt abandoned and thought her mom didn't love her. The 3 sisters stopped talking to Demi altogether in 2012. They didn't even go to her 50th birthday, and Demi missed important events in their lives, like rumors of her appearance on Dancing with the Stars in 2015. But on November 12, 2015, things began to change. After going to rehab for drug abuse and an eating disorder, she bravely reached out to her mom. It was the first time they had seen each other in almost 3 years. Demi didn't waste any time. She flew to New York right away to meet her daughter. Rebuilding their relationship wasn't easy. On a 2019 episode of Red Table Talk, the family talked about how hard things had been. Tula said she felt abandoned, and Rumors said she used to have panic attacks at the thought of running into her mom. Scout admitted she was angry and full of resentment. Demi took responsibility, admitting that her addiction had hurt her family deeply. After going to therapy and family counseling for 18 months, things started to get better when they spent a week at a retreat in Arizona in 2017. They meditated and did exercises together to heal emotionally. Now that they're back together, they spend holidays together, support each other on social media, and even work on projects as a family. For Demi's 60th birthday in 2022, her daughters surprised her by getting matching tattoos of the word mother written in her handwriting. It was a beautiful way to show how close they've become. Demi stayed close to Bruce Willis even after they broke up in 2000. When Bruce's family told the world in 2022 that he had aphasia, Demi was one of the first people to share the news and show her support. Since then, she's been there for him, spending time with Bruce and his wife, Emma Hemming Willis. In 2023, Demi joined Bruce's family to celebrate his 68th birthday, and she even posted a cute video of everyone singing happy birthday together. It went viral and showed how strong their bond is still. In 2019, Demi even went to Bruce's Comedy Central roast and made jokes about their past. She said, "I was married to Bruce for the first 3 decades. People loved seeing how they could laugh about their past relationships. They've also supported each other's new relationships." Demi went to Bruce's wedding to Emma in 2009, and Bruce went to Demi's wedding to Ashton Kutcher in 2005. Their kids have liked how respectful and loving their parents have been. Rumor has it that Demi's 62nd birthday gift from Bruce was the best example of love she could have asked for. Divorced parents who still care about each other. Demi's new way of life is called solo partnering, which means she's focusing on her own growth and happiness and not looking for a romantic partner. She's open to love if it comes her way, and the idea became so popular that sloop partnering was trending online right after the interview. Demi's dating style has also changed. In the past year, she's only been on 3 dates, all of which she carefully chose. One of them was with an astrophysicist she met at a TED Talk, and they went stargazing in the Mojave Desert. In a surprising turn of events, Demi has also become friends with Muni's, Ashton Kutcher's wife. The two of them even started a book club and meet every 2 weeks to talk about books and life. Fans love how mature and forgiving Demi has become. As for the future, Demi hasn't ruled out love, but now she knows what she wants. If she does fall in love with someone, it will be someone who adds to her life, not someone she feels she needs to be whole. And they have to love her dog Puff, who has over 2 million followers.